Hey everyone, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and I'm here with a weird one. Did you know that chip theory makes kids games? I didn't know that until it was mentioned on our Discord, and I was like, hey, well, I'd like to try those out. So they sent me review copies of the Independent Play Collection, 4 different solo games, and, it doesn't fit the channel as well, but I figured I'd show it as well. The Versus Play Collection with 3 competitive games, although, as I'll mention in a moment, bear in mind, totally works great as a co-op game. In fact, probably my favorite game of the 7 in the collection, interestingly enough. I think you can buy these independently, like just buy one of them, but they do have these collections that I think might make the price a little bit lower. So I'm just going to kind of talk through each of the 7 of them. I will say just right off the bat, the 4 games in the Independent Play Collection are very, very similar to each other. In that, in the end, you're just like putting stuff and trying to fill in the correct things in sort of a riddle style. So I don't think there's much benefit in owning all 4 of them. I would find the one you think looks the coolest. I'm going to play through one puzzle from each, and then stick with that one. Yeah, I would probably say, by the way, Neighborhood Hide and Seek, I think, was me and my kids' favorite. Actually, one of my 2 kids, my 12-year-old, likes Sudoku Forest best out of these ones, and all of us like Bear in Mind best out of the Versus Play. So there you go. If you just want to, TLDR, don't watch the rest of the video, these are the ones I recommend. But let's actually look at each of them briefly and talk through some stuff. And just a brief note about construction. All 4 of the Independent Play ones have metal boxes, and they have in some way or other magnetized components. So that's pretty cool. You do not get that with the competitive collection, but they also don't have stuff just kind of free floating as much in the box. They have their components nicely stored in there and such, as I'll show you later. All right, but let's play through a little bit of Sudoku Forest first. And I'll skip, each of these has 60 to 80 puzzles. I'll skip to, the 31 to show you how it all works. So for each of these, you put the little puzzle sheet in the lid so that the pieces will actually stick to it. And here it's telling me who I've got. I got Piggy. I got you. I got a rabbit. Oh, I got a frog, but they already told me where the frog is. I got a doggus, a rabbit, and a hippo. Okay, now just really simplified Sudoku, I need to put all these 5 pieces in the correct place. And they're telling you what cannot be somewhere crossed out and what must be somewhere not crossed out. So I can see Pig can't be in any of these rows, so he has to be here or here, and he has to be here. Wow. Sorry, they say the game is for ages 3 to 99. So I think I'm well within my rights of playing this and showing that I am smarter than the average Sudoku Forest player. Okay, what's next? Pig. Oh, we already did pig. Okay, so hippo has to be in one of those 2. Okay. Oh, dog has to be in this column, so he has to be right there. And Cheapy over here, can't be here, can't be here. He must be here, which means hippo must be here. And hey, rabbit was never even mentioned, but by a process of elimination, he's there. Boom, Sudoku Forest. And you'll see that the other things are pretty dang similar, but that's how that one works. Okay, next is Pixel Party, designed by Reiner Knizia. For some reason, you're going to see in a moment that it's not Knizia's, maybe defining work or anything. For this one, we'll jump all the way to 37. 4 stars, baby. It's a cow. So they tell us which pixel pieces we get. So here we got that. You got to pay attention to the black and white colors. And we got you. And we got you. Oh, we got all the pieces. Okay. And we need to fill in the picture of the cow, but we must respect the white-black delineation. So I think that one has to be here. I found that there are sometimes multiple solutions. I could try that. And then maybe not that. Well, I guess I could do that. Where are we going to put this big boy, though? Let's get rid of this stuff. And I can't do a single one like that. Maybe I go that and get rid of this. Then that could fit in there. But then I can do this and that. And what do I have left? You can go here, maybe. No, you can't. I could go there. This is funny. I've literally never had trouble beating any of these, and then suddenly... Oh, does this do it? No, it doesn't do it. Oh, it does if I just flip it. Okay, there we go. I was about to say, these are usually easy. All right, so that is Pixel Party in a nutshell. I find it probably the least interesting of all of them. Sorry, Reiner Knizia. I'd rather play Ra than this. Just personal preference, you understand. All right, next we've got Tangram Adventure. So you can probably figure out where this is going. We got some magnetized colored Tangram pieces. And this one's interesting in that they literally just like tell you how to build the first ones, and then they slowly take away the colors, or even like take away where you're supposed to be putting the pieces so that it's not as obvious how to succeed. But there's also way fewer of these. Like I think this only goes to the 40s. All right, so here we go. The hippo's only telling me where 2 things go, and I got to figure out the rest on my own. So that's not going to work, is it? And I can do that. The circle has to go over. That could be that. Maybe this front boy. Okay. Got to get my big uns in here. All right, that'll work. And then like that. And then am I missing a triangle? Oh, there it is. Gee, I was like, I feel like I should have solved this already. There we go. Tangram Adventure. I made a hippo. This one is the other less interesting one to me. So I like Pixel Party and Tangram Adventure less. Sudoku Forest is simple, but at least like kind of interesting with the whole Sudoku logic stuff. This and Pixel Party feel almost identical, just different pieces. All right, so hey, let's get to my favorite, neighborhood hide and seek. So once again, you're just trying to fill things in, but I find it a little bit more interesting. So how it works is you need to place pieces such that the hole that is cut out covers the indicated picture of that piece. But if you have a duplicated piece, which happens later on, like I might have 2 things that show this, only one of them is real, so they lie to you sometimes. And then the question marks can be whatever piece you want, well, except one that's already used. And what you're trying to do is figure out who wins hide and seek, because as you fill in, oh my God, I can't get this thing off the magnet. As you fill in the different things, you're going to cover up some people, and then only one person will be left with no pieces on them when you finish the puzzle, and they, quote unquote, win hide and seek. Just a cute little addition there. All right, so I don't know. Let's see. This, and then this, and then I need to have this one, so maybe it's like that. And then I need to have this. Maybe it's like that. And then could do that. Oh, you're not winning hide and seek. And then this one could fit there. And then that. Yay, he wins hide and seek. Boom. So not saying it's any harder than the other ones, but I just find, especially in the later puzzles, because this goes up to just around 50, that like the fake like lying ones where they have duplicates and the question marks become a bit more interesting, and just like the little extra element, even though it's purely thematic and doesn't really matter at all for gameplay, that like you're like, hey, this person hid until the end. I don't know. I find that a little bit fun. But as you can see, they're all basically variations of the same idea. My kids didn't have trouble with any of them. Like, well, my 9-year-old like had a little bit of trouble with the highest levels of each one. Again, my favorite is Neighborhood Hide and Seek, Sudoku Forest a little bit behind, and that was my 12-year-old's favorite. Neither of them loved these. But yeah, I mean, like they're kind of all the same thing. So I definitely would not pick up more than one. I don't think it makes sense to get all 4 of them. Sorry, Chip Theory. Just my honest opinion. And by the way, they have this bonus content thing where they have like puzzles with the rules for the other games and using those components, but for other Chip Theory games. It's a thing. It's definitely, I mean, it's fine. It's just more puzzles, but they're pretty easy too. And my kids like don't play enough of the Chip Theory games to be like, yay, wow, too many bones. But if your kids do, it'd be fun, I guess. But hey, let's get to the competitive games. Woodland Rush. This one is pretty fun. It is a real-time game, and what happens is you're trying to score as many points on your turn as you can. You flip this little sand timer, and then you're revealing these cards basically give you different ways to earn points. I'm giving you all the boring ones. So, like, you'll get a little tree card, and then you got to put these tree pieces together to build the tree that matches those colors. And then you'll get a card like this, and you have to take these little meeples and put them on the matching thing. So, Mr. Squirrel's in House 4. And then, what are some of the other ones? This one is special in that every player can participate. So usually it's just whoever's turn it is flipping the cards and trying to get points. But every player tries to see which character is missing and grab them first, and then they get those points. So it at least gives you some reason to be involved during other players' turns. But yeah, you're just flipping cards and doing stuff. So it's like real time. It's chaos. It's pretty fun. I will say that it is just insanely unbalanced, because like there are cards that let you steal cards from other people. Some cards are just like worth way more for no reason. So it is certainly not like a good game in terms of like a balanced experience, but we had a fun time with it. I would say it's our least favorite of the 3 competitives, but my kids liked all 3 of the competitive games quite a bit. So least favorite is not that bad of a thing. Next, the game they liked a little bit better is Octo Grabbo. And this is basically play with chopsticks, the game, in that you are just trying to pick things up with chopsticks. It's hard when they're in a bag, Mike. And they give you these little like hilarious octopus pieces that are supposed to make it easier, but we find they go around and just like kind of dodge being able to pick up stuff. My kids both use chopsticks quite a bit already, so they didn't really need this anyway. But yeah, I find this piece a little bit weird. By the way, I had mentioned that like the competitive games don't have the magnetic box thing, but they do have really nicely made inserts, as you can see here. But yeah, so how Octo Grabbo works, there's two versions of the game. You're either rolling this die to determine which piece you get or whether you can steal a piece from another person, and you're trying to fill your board before everybody else fills their board. Totally random. You know, you do have to pick up the piece once you've rolled it on the die, so it's like sort of, again, practicing using chopsticks. I got it. And they have like little holes in the pieces, which can make it a little bit easier to pick them up. But there's no real-time element to this one. You're just trying to get the pieces. Now, in the advanced mode, it becomes a simultaneous real-time game in that you're flipping up these cards, and everyone simultaneously with all the pieces in the middle is trying to grab the indicated pieces and put them on their board before anybody else can grab the pieces and put them on their own board. So it's kind of like a mad, chaotic dash. Whoever does it successfully gets the card. There's like a little bit more to it going on than that, but instead of using the die, it's entirely like a skill-based, real-time, frenetic dash. We like that one better. We play with the die every once in a while, but really it's all about the real-time chaos. So that's Octo Grabbo, and that's the middle preferred game out of the competitive ones. But let's get to our favorite game out of the entire set, out of all 7 games. And hey, it's also Rana Knizia. You redeemed yourself from Pixel Party or whatever that was called. Bear in mind, this game is friggin' awesome. And this is the only one that I think can totally be played cooperatively. Like, technically it's a competitive game, but it doesn't have to be. So you get a series of these little tiles. They're double-sided with different images on the other sides. You use more than this. I'm just showing you kind of an example. And then you get these item cards that have like little things on them. And what happens at the beginning of the game, each player takes turns flipping a card, putting it next to one of the images, and then they got to tell a story about what happened. Okay, so hey, this little antelope, is that an antelope? This little antelope child was watching the penguin as he tried to go skiing. He was just sitting on a rock and thinking his friend was doing a great job. Okay, and then you flip it down, and we go through like that. So the next player's like, hey, oh no, Wolf dropped his cell phone on the roller coaster. What a sad time. Or if you're my 12-year-old, you like to always make it violent. He just makes death happen. So, oh, little baby turtle was having such a good time until Squiddo, or is that an octopus? Until Octopusso ripped his head off. Oh, no, Octopusso. And hey, the fox found an acorn while he was swinging. He grabbed it from the tree because he was up high. And, Panda took some film with carrots. I don't know why. And then, Crocodile forgot to brush his teeth when he went fishing. Okay, so then after they're all out, what happens is, let me grab it. You have this little bear meeple, and you roll a die, and you move that many in clockwise direction, and then you have to say what the heck happened in the story. What was this? Wolf dropped his cell phone, right? Oh, so I get this as a point, and then I draw a new card because you'll have a pile of extra tiles, and I got to make like an add-on story or a new story. So, Mr. Snail found Wolf's cell phone. He was so happy. Okay, and then the next player rolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What was this one? It was, the antelope sitting on a rock watching the penguin. Hey, I got it. And after he watched him, he stole his backpack because he was a bad friend after all. Okay, and you're just going around like sort of building on each other's stories, so it's like a fun little storytelling activity, and then it's also a memory game. And technically you're supposed to go until all the tiles run out, and then whoever has the most tiles wins, which is dumb, because like often it's just based on player order. We rarely get the stories wrong. So that's why I said this is a great cooperative game, because if we just have fun and tell stories together and try to have a good memory for each other's stories and build onto things well, the game is a friggin' blast, and we have an awesome time. And, you know, the whole like dumbness of just how like turn order and the randomness of how things get rolled can make you win or lose. That part doesn't matter. So we love this. Bear in mind, our favorite of the entire set. Strongly recommend this out of all of them as something for your family if they like storytelling and just want like kind of a fun, you know, pretty well presented little game to facilitate that storytelling. I think this one is great. All right, so that's it. Now you, like me, know that Chip Theory makes kids games, and you'd have to know a little bit about each of them. So I hope that was fun to watch. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought of my little stories for Bear in Mind. And a special thank you to our biggest Patreon supporters, J. William F., Pedro Lucas, Nick Skeen, Miles, Wayne Scott, and Steve Wren. We'll see you at the next stop. Bye, everybody.